rumors have sparked that Tupac is coming back. Be sure to watch the entire video because you won't want to miss this one. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
On YouTube, not the movie or the hologram, Tupac Amaru Shakur, the human being.
Do you want to win any of these items on the screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right back into the video. The early life of Tupac Shakur.
Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tamalpais High School, and I'm 17 years old.
Regardless of where you stand on the whole Tupac is alive conversation, there is no doubt that when he was alive, he was a presence to be felt, and his time both as a man and as a rapper has been chronicled many times over the years. So before diving into the reasons many people think he is alive, we need to discuss why people feel he was one of the best to ever do it. Despite being known for his love of the West Coast, specifically California, Tupac Shakur was actually born in New York City in 1971. What's more, his birth name was actually Lasagne Parish Crooks, quite a ways away from Tupac, don't you think? His parents actually changed his name to Tupac Amaru II, which was a name derived from a Peruvian revolutionary, believe it or not. His parents were big influencers in his life even before he was born, as both of his parents were part of the Black Panther Party and each had been charged and acquitted of various crimes over the years. And just as important, many of the people that Tupac knew were part of the Black Liberation Army, a group fighting for equal rights for African Americans. So you could say he was raised to try and break the status quo of the world. Eventually, Tupac went on his first of many moves, the first of which was to Baltimore, Maryland. It was here that Tupac started to learn about music and poetry and became quite enamored with it. He even took up acting while in high school there. When he started to put his talents towards rapping with his friends, he actually won a lot of awards and competitions. But what might be the most interesting thing is that despite his soon-to-be controversial nature, Tupac was well liked by just about everyone at his school. He was touted as being funny, kind, talented, and able to mix with all groups, including being good friends with the future wife of Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, who Tupac noted many times was his friend for life. Eventually, his family moved to Marin City, California, which is only a few miles away from San Francisco. He finished high school there and continued his love of both music and poetry, even writing once. Our raps, not the sorry story raps everyone is so tired of. They are about what happens in the real world. Our goal is to have people relate to our raps, making it easier to see what really is happening out there. Even more important, what we may do to better our world, a foreshadowing of things to come. A rise in rap.
We'd all like to officially welcome Tupac Shakur into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Despite what some people think, Tupac's fame in rap didn't come right away. He actually started rapping back in 1988, but it wasn't until a few years later that he got his first big break by signing with the group Digital Underground, a group that made not just music, but also did movies as well, including the 1991 film Nothing But Trouble, which Tupac was also in. As a small part, those acting lessons paid off, as you see. After working with them for a while, Tupac went out on his own album, Tupacalypse Now. On one hand, the film didn't get a lot of sales, nor were any of his songs hits in terms of chart hitters. However, because of the style and the underground vibe that Tupacalypse Now portrayed, many rappers were inspired by it, including future legends like Eminem and Nas, who cited it in talking about their early works. Ironically enough, the rights to this album are now with Tupac's mother, who owns her own record label in Amaru Entertainment. But what might be the biggest impact of that first album though was that Tupac went and used his songs to try and show off the social injustice going on in the United States at the time, especially in California, which would be fuel for legendary rap group NWA. It got so much controversy that even Vice President of the United States at the time, Don Quayle, spoke out on saying that an album like this shouldn't be released. Oh, Quayle, if you only knew. Tupac didn't hold back though. At the criticism thrown his way, he noted that he was just singing about what he had been through and seen. I started out saying I was down for young black male. I started saying I was down for the young black male, you know? And that was just gonna be my thing, Shakur said. I just wanted to rap about things that affected young black males. When I said that, I didn't know that I was gonna tie myself down to just taking all the blunts and hits for all the young black males. To be the media's kicking post for young black males. I just figured since I lived that life, I could do that. I could rap about that. No matter the results of his first album, Tupac had all the fuel he needed for his next album, which came out in 1993 and proved that he was here to stay. even having his album debut at number 24 on the Billboard Top 200. Many rap historians even say that this was the album that helped Tupac break out into the mainstream and started to become the legend that everyone knew. The Legend of Tupac.
Go out. When I finally got my shot to go on the camera, it made me go out there and say everything I really wanted to say instead of being like politically correct.
With his fame in hand, Tupac branched out and actually started a group called Thug Life, where they did gangster rap. A rap that was even more vocal, even more hardcore, and even more unapologetic, to the extent that many songs had to be re-recorded at the request of Interscope Records, their label at the time, because they were too controversial. And though as a group they released only one album, it did go gold, which isn't too bad, and it had many songs that are still considered hits. But for Tupac, he was only getting started, and his third album, Me Against the World, is widely considered not only one of his best compilations ever, but also one of the most influential hip-hop albums of all time. The album won many awards and has sold over 3 million units in its lifetime. Add to that many singles that went onto the Billboard Top 100 charts, and you can see why many people liked it. His fourth album was All Eyes on Me, and it was his best album in terms of sales and recognition yet. It went 9 times platinum and had 2 #1 songs known as How Do You Want It and California Love. The album sold over 5 million copies before the 90s was even over, and by that time Tupac Shakur was a mainstream name in rap and many people considered him a legend. His final album that he would release during his life was a bit of an odd one, as it was The 7 Day Theory, and he actually released it under a new name, Machiavelli. The intent of the record, according to those who knew him, was that it was meant to be a solely underground record, not one released for many distributions, but it was anyway, and it was a big hit, and by 1999 it was a 4-time platinum hit. Many people noted the raw power and emotion that Tupac exerted in the songs of the album. Sadly, that was the end of his release, because in 1996, his life was taken from him. Or was it? The conspiracies around Tupac.
And he's looking out the window and there's absolutely no expression on his face. I just hope he wasn't afraid.
Talking about the passing of Tupac Shakur is actually a bit tricky, mainly because though the loss of his life in such dramatic and brutal fashion has been documented many times and even shown off in videos and documentaries about his life, there are many people who actually think that he's still alive. What's more, the conspiracies about his life are almost as numerous as the tracks he has made, and there are many people in the world today who have claimed to have been a part of the plot to keep him alive and make people think he was really gone, or claim to have seen him alive in other parts of the world. Yeah, it's weird when you think about it, but clearly they believe it, and that's what matters. So let's show off some of the most popular Tupac is alive conspiracy theories. The theory of sevens. Let's get one of the crazier theories out of the way, alright? If you look hard enough at something, you're gonna find a crazy connection that seems to mean something, even though it's likely just an odd coincidence. For Tupac's passing, that would be the sevens theory. What is that? Well, it's this odd theory that too many of the key details of the case have a connection to the number 7. For example, while he died on the 13th of September, he was actually shot on the 7th. What was his age when he died? 25. Then if you include the 7th or the 13th date, it was actually a week after he was shot that he died. 7 days. Plus he was officially pronounced gone at 4:03 p.m. 4 + 3 = 7, right? Oh, and if you want to throw in another convenient match, Tupac's was on the 16th. 1 + 6 = 7. But the real question is, what does it all mean? What does it all connect to? How does the number 7 connect to Tupac other than all the coincidences? The truth is, we really don't know. That's why this one is well and truly just a conspiracy theory, even though ones who have pointed it out don't know what it all means, which is why I wanted to mention it first. Because unlike certain other theories out there about Tupac, this one is honestly just gibberish. Again, if you look hard enough at any situation that happens to involve numbers, you're gonna find a pattern. Now, if Tupac's favorite number was 7, or he used to wear the number 7 all the time, this might mean something. But I don't think he did either. Tupac is in Malaysia.
Tupac, say what up, bro? Tupac! The real Machiavelli the Don.
One of the most prevalent theories is that Tupac faked his own passing and used the media buzz around it to flee the country. Yet there are more than one conspiracy theories about where Tupac ended up. One of them comes from the son of the driver that Tupac had when he got shot, Suge Knight Jr. According to him, Tupac is alive and well in Malaysia and even provided photo proof of him and Tupac hanging out in Malaysia. So why Malaysia? Well, it has to do with the reason for Tupac's passing. It was well known that Tupac was caught in a big feud with rappers from the East Coast and the West Coast. This was in fact the most dangerous feud in rap history, and it claims many lives, including Tupac's friend and rap brother Notorious B.I.G., who died a few years previous. Thus, Tupac faked his passing and fled the country so that not only could he live his life in peace, but he wouldn't have to worry about his rivals coming out to get him, which in a sense makes total sense. Is this real though? Likely not, especially since the photo evidence was debunked. But that doesn't mean Tupac isn't somewhere else. Tupac is in Cuba with family. If Tupac is still alive, then the obvious question here is, where did he go? To be in the United States would be too dangerous, right? A lot of people knew him, and this was before the rise of the internet and smartphones, where you can look up just about anyone in the blink of an eye. So obviously he would have to go out of the country, right? But to where? One of Tupac's friends, a rapper named Treach, was asked about where Tupac was and whether he was really gone. Treach answered without blinking an eye, "Last time I saw him was in Cuba, man." Treach said this in 2010, almost 15 years after Tupac passed. So why would he say that? And just as important, why would he say that without hesitation? Is it because he knew something that we didn't? Sure, a lot of people say that they'll flee to Cuba one day, but why would Tupac take that step? Well, that's something that is actually hard to evidence. You see, Tupac had an aunt named Assata Shakur. She was part of the Black Liberation Army, which I noted later was a big influence in his family and life, and was charged with a felony. But her BLA members broke her out of jail and smuggled her into Cuba, where she is now there under the law of political asylum, meaning the United States can't extradite her back to the country. She's been there since 1984, 12 years before her nephew's passing. So if Tupac wanted to get out of the country, there's a good chance that his aunt knew of a way to get into Cuba without prying eyes, especially if those same eyes were focused on a passing and not a runaway. As a magician would say, it's all about the misdirection. Point the audience one way while you're doing something in the other. The Cuba theory is honestly one of the more persuasive conspiracy theories behind Tupac's passing, mainly because it honestly has evidence behind it. What's more, there have been testimonies and pictures saying that Tupac is in Cuba. One picture even had him at a bar with singer Rihanna, which proves that more people know that he's alive than we think, if the picture was true, and many think that it isn't. But again, it's a theory that lives on with each passing year, and if he did flee the country, he would likely want to stay somewhere that he felt he could feel safe, yet also feel that his friends and potential family could go and visit him without being called into question, and Cuba certainly qualifies. Where was Tupac's body when he was buried?
Secluded beach in Malibu. In attendance were close friends and relatives, including his mother, Rafeni Shakur.
The backbone of most conspiracy theories is that there is an inconsistency with what happened in a certain scenario, and thus needs to be explored. Such as, a body not proved to be truly gone? Confused by what I mean? Allow me to explain. After Tupac was officially declared gone, the very next day he was cremated. A service was held soon after, and Suge Knight, a close friend of Tupac who was there when his life was taken, paid $3 million to ensure that no one could see Tupac's ashes or be allowed in without an invitation, thus keeping the circle of silence rather complete, if you would. Now sure, if you want to look at this objectively, you could say that Suge Knight and the others didn't want Tupac's funeral to be turned into a media or fan circus, which is fair and understandable. But you see, on the report for the cremation, the cremator listed Tupac as being taller and heavier than he actually was. Now you can forgive an inch or two of height, it's all relative, but the difference in weight was 53 pounds. That's quite a discrepancy. Additionally, after the service, the cremator retired and has never been seen or heard from again. Doesn't that seem rather odd to you? Furthermore, there was supposed to be a public viewing of the body that was meant to be used for fans to pay tribute to the singer. It was cancelled, so technically the only people who saw Tupac's body were Suge Knight and the cremator, as well as maybe certain hospital staff, depending on how things were handled. So what does that leave us with? It leaves us with a very small set of people seeing Tupac's body and his ashes, to the extent that if you look at it objectively, only they have the proof of him being alive or gone. Add that to the situation with the cremator, and you have enough inconsistencies to start a whole plethora of conspiracy theories, not just the one. If the burial was a misdirection, Tupac could be anywhere, or it could just be a series of odd events that are easily explained by grief and loss. Which of course raises one final question. Why do people hope that Tupac is still alive? I barely scratched the surface in regards to the conspiracy theories that Tupac has about his life after passing, with each one being crazier than the other in certain respects, but why are so many people clinging to some small hope or crazy logic that Tupac may be alive? The honest and simple answer is that they really miss him. Tupac's music impacted a whole generation and inspired many generations of rappers to this day. His music was real and it had weight to it. It was stirring the pot, challenging norms, and getting a bunch of people, including people who don't listen to rap, like Dan Quayle, to respond to it in one way or another. Plus, the passing of Tupac was so sudden and tragic, and the answers given to them were so few and incomplete, that many hope that like a movie or a TV show or book, that this isn't what it appears, that there is hope that he is alive somewhere out there making music. And because these beliefs have been going on for so long, it's doubtful that they'll ever really go away. So in some respects, Tupac really is alive, in the hearts of his fans and those that miss him. That will have to be enough, but for those that can't accept that, the journey to find the truth about his death is going to continue. And there you have it, a look at Tupac, his life, his career, and the conspiracies around his passing and resurrection that still have the world talking on a grand scale. What do you think of the passing of Tupac? Do you think that he's really gone? Or do you think that he's hiding like the conspiracies say? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.